Satnam Aloha. So today I want to talk about the Uranus moving into the 20th gate here. So you can see there's the symbol of Uranus in the 20th gate. The 20th gate comes off the throat here. And let's look at the dates because the outer planets move quite slowly through the zodiac, and you'll notice that there's about 6 gates per zodiac. So this is the mandala here. So let's look at the dates for a review here. July 10th, 2025, Uranus moved into the 20th gate out of the 8. And then it stays in the 20 until November 5th, 2025. And then it moves into the 8th gate again. And then on April 28th, 2026, it moves back into the 20th gate. And then it stays there until May 27th, 2027. And then it moves into the 16th gate. And then basically it's moving on, right? Through all the gates of Gemini. So it takes Uranus about 7 years to move through a zodiac sign in all those gates. So you can see here, it's moving like back and forth, right? From the 8 to the 20 right here. So these are important gates. So, and you can see some of them are cusps, right? So the 8 is like that. It's part Taurus and part Gemini. So what do we want to say about this 20th gate? Well, we got to look at the shadow, and it's the shadow of superficiality. The 20th, and the gift is presence. So I'm going to talk about that in the video and how that applies to the divine feminine. Okay, so this is lost in the mind. The shadow is lost in the mind. It's busy, 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 and not really here. You're not really here. You're present from you're absent from your own life, checked out. And you may be doing all the right things. You're meditating, you're helping people, you're helping your family, you're working hard, you're checking all the spiritual boxes, but underneath it all, you're still rushing and you're still pretending, right? You're playing a role, you're hectic, you're frantic, you're superficial. So this shadow of superficiality pretends to be present, but it can't really be present. Because at the frequency, all shadow comes to a fear. Every shadow that's associated with the gate comes with a fear. And this is the fear of pausing. It's the fear of stillness. Because when you stop, you get to feel what you've been running from. So you stay busy to escape your insecurity and your fear, and you hope activity and staying busy will mask the feeling that something's missing, right? Something in your life, you're just feeling this void and you're running from the void in the shadow of superficiality. And this is where you use your mind to make your decisions, and this leads to stupid mistakes, right? And reactive patterns. And you may externalize the divine with the 20th shadow, and this means that you're calling in your angels and your guides rather than trusting the stillness inside you, and that's your divinity. The silent presence, that's the gift that's inside you. So this is the disembodied divine feminine, right? And the fractured masculine, the false self, the not self, is running the show here. So the gift of presence, which is your divinity, your presence, is when you make decisions from this place, this deep inner stillness, not from logic or fear, you slow down, right? And life begins to move through you with grace, and you begin to move through life with grace. So you stop seeking safety and activity, and you begin to trust the unknown. And you reclaim your feminine power, not as a force, but as a presence. Your feminine power. It's not what you do and how you dress and how you behave. It's about your presence, right? And there's a teaching that if your presence doesn't work, nothing works. So this is the magnetic feminine awakening, the magnetic feminine awakening. This is your Empress energy. So this is pure consciousness. The gift here is pure consciousness that is showing up in your form, right? So this is like no agenda, no need to convince, no need to impress. It's just this frequency starts to awaken. So you can even look, I would suggest you look in the mirror. Look in the mirror and look into your own eyes. And is there anybody home? Ask yourself that. Is there anybody home? And can you become more present without efforting? So just breathing and noticing and letting your mind fall away. And just see what happens. Journal what arises. So the other thing that's interesting about the 20th gate is this old, seems like every video I'm doing, I'm pulling up this chart. And these are the cycles of consciousness, right? So we're going through a cycle, a 400-year cycle that's ending in 2026 called the Cross of Planning. So there's something called locks and keys. Okay, so we're moved 2027, we move in another 400-year cycle called the Cross of the Sleeping Phoenix. So this is what I'm reminding you of, that the energy is shifting very radically. We're coming closer and closer to 2027. So the rules of the game, the rules of the simulation, the matrix, whatever you want to call it, the Maya, are changing. So it's really time for you to adapt, right? So you can see there's a lock that never changes as you go through these cycles. The lock doesn't change, right? It stays the same. So it's moving from 16 to 20. And there's the 20. This is the new key for the Cross of the Sleeping Phoenix. So if we look at, and it's the lock 15. So I'll just talk about that. And there it is there. It's in the G center. So you want to check your chart if you have any of these gates. And remember that there's, I always put a link below in the information box. And you got your free chart there. Okay, so the gate 15 coming off the G center in the chart, this is the lock. Right? So the gate 15 is the rhythm of humanity. It's the pulse of life on Earth. It's the collective movement of time, seasons, energy, evolution. It holds the flow code, and this is how we as a species move through the world. So that's the lock there. So the old key, and this is about falling into natural cycles. If you have the 15 in your natal chart, and this is really, really important to you, right? These cycles. It's the love of humanity. I have the 15, actually. It's in my North Node. It's in my North Node. So this is really important to me. My cycles are all over the place, right? If you look, I don't know if you can see my time up here, right? It's 0:40. It's almost 1 a.m. in the morning here. And that's just part of my rhythm. So that's correct for me to it's called the gate of extremes, to have different kinds of rhythm. Never like I get up at 9 a.m. every morning and this is what I do, and then I do this at noon. It's like, no, it's according to the energy, and that's correct for me. So if you have that, it's also important for you to have your own rhythm. So this is the pulse of life, and this is how we fall in and out of natural cycles, and this is how we sync with nature, the seasons, the collective energy fields. It's how we navigate time and flow and alignment, and we live in harmony or disharmony with the greater whole. So let's look at the old key that tapped into this. The old key was the 16. And the 16, both of them come from the throat, but they're different, right? They're different expressions of this throat. So we opened up this flow with skill and structures, right? So the cross of planning from 1615 to 2026. This was all about rhythms based on routine, tradition, practice, and shared agreements. This starts at school. You go to school at 8:30 a.m. and then you have recess, and then you come back in, and you have a class, and then you go and you have your lunch, and then you blah blah blah, and then you finish school, right? So this was an imposition of rhythm and routine and tradition, and it was preparing us basically for the workforce, school and education. And this could go against your rhythm. Often school would be the same for me. It would go against my rhythm. Sometimes I'd want to sleep more. Right? And this is what I used to do in high school. I would skip school and go home and just sleep, right? Because that was my rhythm. So this is the old way of the cross of planning. And this is how we flowed and how we moved as a humanity, as a species. And society moving through the world with an emphasis on systems and roles and control. A collective tempo, even with daylight savings time. You'll notice that not every we don't obey it here in this state. In the last state I lived in, Arizona, we didn't obey it either. But most of the world obeys it. Our calendar system, all of that. This is the 16. And it was about planning and strategy. Right? So this is coming to an end. And now the new gate is gate 20, right? So this is the new key that's going to open up this lock. And 20 is all about now. It's the gate of now. And this is about presence. It's about embodiment. So now we're invited into rhythms rooted into the now moment, not schedules. And you may be already in. I've been in this all my life, God, going against the system, which wasn't always easy. But this is, and you may be already doing this, aligning with the energy. Sometimes the energy is just not there. You had a plan. Your mind had a plan. I would do this today, and then the energy's not there. I want to go shopping and I want to do all my adult responsibility things, and I'm going to do it on this day. And you get to the day and it's like, there's no energy here. I can't make myself go if I wanted to. So this is what we're getting more aligned with. We're going to be in our own flow, right? What's my flow right now in the now moment? So humanity is learning to move through the world based on real-time awareness, not clock time, not calendar time. And this is a collective pulse that honors extremes, individuality, and mutation. Like I said, I have the gate 15, so I understand when people are in their own rhythm and they can't make an appointment, or they're going to be late, late or something like that. I understand because I have the 15, and we don't have control. We never did have control. So we're really going to feel this, right? Feel this. So there's a deep love for the diversity of rhythm, and we're no longer going to standardize time and flow and expression, right? So this 16 was also about, mastering through skills, right? So this is about sacrificing your individuality for a sense of belonging, the 16. And this is, I must seek security to survive, right? So this is rooted in a fear of chaos and a need for an agreement, right? The cross of planning was built on tribal consciousness, which was a bargain, right? But now this contract is ending, it's expiring. So we have to move out of this energy, right? So this would be a good way for you to embrace it. I know some of you are probably really still part of the system, the old system, but this old system is collapsing, and we're going to see this shift more and more and more. So to just start to really align with your own rhythm. And it's amazing what the things that get done when you're in your own rhythm. Okay, so let's see here. So this is about presence. The gate 20 is all about presence. It's about the now, and it's a pure embodiment So this is no longer about planning. It's no longer about systems. It's no longer about tribal belonging. This is about an individual mutation, embodied power, and presence as your path, and living from the soul. This is like wiping out time, clock time. And this is like our perception of time is completely going through a mutation here. We're coming more and more and more into the present now moment. And you may have experienced that lately. I know I have in the last couple years, especially, is that time is just doing strange things. Sometimes days feel like it's a month long, and then days feel like I blink my eye and it's over, you know? Okay. And then let's go into a little bit more deeply here. And because we're talking about the 20s, so Uranus is in the 20th gate, and then it's trining Pluto for quite a long time, for a couple years. And Pluto's in the 41, is in the 41st gate, 41st gate. So Uranus in the 20 says this is about your voice. So now we're looking at you individually. So we're looking at your voice. So this is about your voice, using your voice, Uranus in the 20th gate, a voice that liberates your soul. So this transit is shocking you. Shock, that's a big word for Uranus, is shocking you out of inherited powerlessness, silence, secrecy, and shame. Right? So now it's about burning the blueprint of silence. And a trine, you always want a trine. So Uranus and Pluto are tag teaming and helping you to burn this blueprint of silence that you've inherited from your ancestors. So this is your raw presence. It's your energetic truth telling. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be speaking spiritual truth, right? You're going to get rid of all this shame and secrecy and silence. You're going to step into your raw presence and your energetic truth telling in the now moment, right? So this is about using your voice to transmute karma. So you have to remember that there's you, and then you live in this field of energy. So as soon as you speak, right? As soon as you speak, you start to shift the field. And that means if you're in the present now moment, it's all about your frequency. You're aligned with your authenticity and you speak the truth. You send ripples through that field of truth. It's very, very powerful. And this can completely shift your reality. So this is transmuting karma with your voice. It channels. It just isn't just expressing feelings. You're transmuting karma. And especially with this fractal, because there's the vow of silence that many of you have taken from past lives. You're fearful of using your voice because your voice, speaking in power and showing your power, meant persecution. It meant death, horrible death here. So you want to speak the unspoken. You want to speak what you haven't spoken in your relationships, that you purse your lips and you refuse to say. You gaslight yourself. You stay silent. This is not the time. Uranus wants to liberate you, right? Liberate your voice, the power of your voice. So this is voicing what's been repressed in your family system or your karmic dynamics, your karmic relationships. This is about liberating energy that's been trapped in the shadow in your body and in your throat that wants to be released, right? So this is dismantling energetic contracts and control loops. So karmic contracts will start to dissolve when you start to use your voice and start to speak the truth. And remember, if you have a really closed throat chakra from your upbringing, because it's the root of its childhood, but it even goes further back into your past life. When you start to speak, there can be a lot of fear that comes up. Your voice can be shaking. So if you have any part of you that needs to be a perfectionist, and I have to have it well scripted and formed what I'm going to say. No, Uranus in the 20th gate is now, what needs to be spoken now, and then you speak it, right? Because this is the soul speaking, not your ego, not your not self. So this is you claiming your right to be fully alive now. You're bringing yourself back online, right? So this is the high priestess. This is the high priestess coming out with the voice. And it's the voice of initiation. And it's the sound that breaks the ancestral spells. So this is bringing you out of old karmic entanglements with the masculine, right? The false masculine, so ex-partners, patriarchal systems, the inner father, and deep conditioning, letting go of that around being seen and not heard. And fear of claiming your spiritual power due to past life persecution or trauma. And the survival strategy of energetically muting yourself, hiding your truth in order to be loved. So this is activating your frequency and speaking without shame. This present moment power to disrupt, right, the energetic contracts that your mother and your father have taken on, or even contracts you have with your mother and your father and your family and your partner. So this is a real intimacy with your own soul, right? So this is showing up unguarded, right? Not needing to earn love, not concerned about how someone's going to receive your truth, right? Just speaking it. So Pluto there, because you got Uranus, right? You got Uranus in the 20th gate, liberating you in the present now moment. You're not going to be able to hold back your truth. And I wouldn't suggest doing that because Pluto doesn't play and Uranus doesn't play either. That you'll start to attract pain in your body or illness or something like that, especially throat issues. It's like, no, you want to speak, and it gets easier and easier and easier when you speak the truth. So this is about revolution. So Pluto wants you to take all your ancestral stuff, especially your maternal line, right? That may have survived by staying silent. You learned that from your mother, staying silent. So not to be punished. And you can learn that, say your mother wasn't silent, but she spoke and she got abused or whatever happened with the mother. You saw that speaking the truth didn't go well for your mother. She got herself in a lot of trouble, right? That's how you can learn from your mother too, to keep silent. I don't want what happened to me to my mother to happen to me, right? So you can learn both ways here. So staying silent, so not to be punished, playing small to avoid being envied, right? Envied or exiled. And that's the standing out, which is a big fear of my fractal, is standing out because it meant persecution from your past lives. So you didn't want anybody envying you. Being selfless to be acceptable. So you're not born to repeat these patterns from your ancestry and from your past lives. You're here to rewrite it, right? So Pluto says your new foundation is made from new and not your inherited bricks. You know that you're building a little house. You're not going to use the bricks from your ancestors. You're going to make it from fire, right? Your new foundation. And it's made from the truth spoken out loud. So it's made of presence that doesn't apologize here. And then the 41, because Pluto's in the 41, Pluto, right? And Pluto in the 41 is whispering that you need to dream something. You need to dream something that your ancestors never knew, never experienced. Your ancestors do not want you repeating these same patterns. Your ancestors want you to be in the new, right? And to dream something bigger and better, right, than they experience. So basically, your Pluto and Uranus want you to transition from biological lineage, that's blood, to spiritual lineage, and that's light, right? And so remember that in terms of your family, I talked about this before. When you incarnate, especially the ones on my fractal, you these family lines and lineages, the lineage is they're they're unknown to you. They're not familiar to you. And why is that? This is why you can feel like an outsider when you incarnate in your family line, because you haven't been with them before. You don't really have past life memory with your family of origin in that family line. And it's because you have a little bit more detachment, so you can see the patterns and you can see the wounding, the trauma, all of that, so that you can be an alchemize your line, right? So what happens is most people get attached when they're in not self. They get attached and they get trapped in a sense because they take on the role of daughter, daughter, or even mother, or aunt, or whatever, sister, or brother, or whatever, right? And they get trapped in these lineages, but they don't really belong there. They're alchemists. So you may be an alchemist. So it's time to transition from this loyalty to your biological lineage, and then you're moving into the spiritual lineage, right? Your spiritual lineage, which is light. Okay. So this is about in terms of home, right? It's about making your body your new home. It's making your body your new home, especially as a divine feminine. Okay. What else do we want to talk about? Okay. In terms of presence in the shadow of superficiality, it's interesting. The Father Wound Online Retreat is this Friday, starting this Friday. There's still room for people to join in if you feel called. But what happens like a week or 2 weeks before the online retreat, life brings me these experiences. I want to call them their experiences, and information too. And it's all about the learning and integrating for the online retreat. And it's pretty amazing how it happens. It's like clockwork. So anyway, I had a couple experiences this week that tie into this Uranus in the 20th gate, but also the Father Wound online retreat. And this ties in with the shadow of superficiality. So the first thing was I did a twin flame reading for this woman. And so she's really, she wanted to know about her partner. Is this a karmic? Do we have hope of healing this? And they had gone through a lot of tumultuous experiences. And so I'm with her about an hour and a half, or an hour and 20 minutes or something like that. And then she's open and she's receptive, and in comes the partner, right? The last 20 minutes or the last 25 minutes. And immediately the field, because I merge with the field when I do readings. That's why I can't do many per day, because they really wipe me out. So I'm merging with the field. And as soon as he walks in, she shuts down. She completely shuts down. I felt it. I could even see her, just her posture and everything shutting down. And basically he starts attacking me in energy and using logic, right? Logic. And, but I'm a mirror, right? I'm a mirror and a guide. So I'm in my power, and I feel so protected when I do these readings, and very, very open too. And he's just like, his energy is just like anger and rage, right? But he's using all this logic. And it was interesting to watch that. And he wasn't open at all to any kind of feedback. Anyway, the next day she emailed me and she said, he said you were arrogant and you were this and you were that. And he was completely projecting his shadow on me because one of his main shadows was arrogance. And so it made me look at, I think why life wanted me to see this is to see this dynamic between the divine feminine, the wounded feminine, because she was a wounded feminine, with these karmic masculines, these weak masculines. It's quite interesting and so I got to witness what was going on in the field there and to watch it like a radical change in her. So, and my job is just to mirror. It's not to go in and rescue her. It's about mirroring the truth back to her. And they had like crazy, crazy stuff in their chart too. Whenever you see Pluto on the south node or Mars on the south node, it's just like a nightmare. Karmic relationship, karmic loop, and they were completely playing out this karmic loop. So so that happened. And then the next thing was I started watching this podcast, which was unusual. I felt like Spirit really called me to watch it. And it was on Marcus Aubrey. You probably know about him and what went down with him. But his guru, I think his name's Mark Gaffney or something like that. Anyway, it was a lot of women that were talking about him and how they were abused and they were mind controlled by him and they were this and they were that. One red flag for me is that they took no accountability of their part because no one's a victim, right? And what they learned from this, it was more blame, 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 blame. And one of them said, there's really, really smart, intelligent women, and I can't believe they fell for this. I can't believe they fell for that. And right away, it's like, I know how you fell for it because you're all in your head. You're not in your body, right? You're not in your body. So, and we're going to see more of this too. And this guy, he claims that he's the one that bring the divine feminine. He's the one, as soon as you hear that, right? And like put me on a pedestal and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So that made me think about this shadow of superficiality in my fractal and this getting into this spellcaster, because I'm really able to see these weak masculines very, very clearly. It's always amazing to me, the women that fall for these spellcasters, I call them. Right? So I wanted to talk about this in terms of the shadow of superficiality, and for the women on the fractal that are confused, they may be confused in the relationship they're presently in, or they're spiritualizing this relationship and whatever, right? Maybe you'll benefit from this, what I have to share. So these are called the Spellcasters. And so that was what the twin flame reading that I did for that couple, he was definitely a spellcaster. And then this Mark, the teacher, I don't want to bring his name into the field, but that teacher that fell from grace, so that you're aware, right? So that you don't get trapped. I'm all about helping prevent my fractal line from getting trapped, because you have such a big destiny to not get trapped by these spellcasters, right? And these go back to the past life Cathar. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say too is you may have noticed that I did my first video. I'm going back into the vault, the older videos, and taking out the card readings and then editing them and then putting them up. And I'm going to make a little playlist because I want to refer, that's still valuable information. And I'm always referring people that I do readings for or whatever. Oh, you should watch this video. And I just want it all on one playlist so that they can find it and then title them better too. So that's every Monday. I'm going to commit to do that for at least 6 months. Every Monday will drop at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay, so what's the spellcaster? The shadow of superficiality. Well, this is about casting spell. And notice spell, the word spell. It's one of the first things that we learn to do, isn't it, in school? is to spell. So right away, spell has to do with words, right? And then what do we learn? We learn to create a sentence with these words, right? They're all like prison analogies and setting spells. So it's literally the spellcasters, and I'm talking about the male spellcasters, they can cast an energetic fog. And it's not always malicious, right? But it's instinctive, right? So he lives in a pattern of mental escape from emotional responsibility. But what they all have in common is they manipulate energy to gain control rather than to liberate truth. So a spell just isn't a curse. It's not just a curse. It's a binding of the will. And it's a fog of confusion, and it's a distortion field around the soul's knowing. Right? So how do they operate? How do they operate? Well, there's energetic seduction right here. Right? So this is about tuning into your wounds, right? Tuning into your wounds. And then they reflect your fantasies. You hear this too from teachers. They can tap into your desires and what you want, right? So they can reflect back your fantasies. And they offer safety, but with strings attached, big strings attached. So they glamour you with flattery. They'll flatter you. They'll put up a false mirror for you. They'll use spiritual language, right? They'll do we're the same kind of bonding. Oh, yes, I was really misunderstood as a child, too. I didn't really fit in with my family. I was a black sheep in my family, too, like you, right? So that's the glamouring that they use. And then the subtle control, right? They use subtle control. And this is they slowly sever your connection to truth, right? It's very, very subtle. So you begin doubting your own intuition, and your nervous system becomes dysregulated around them, but your mind's trying to explain it away. So they can use word salads, very good with words, spellcasters. So they use the word salad, like over explaining things, in love with their own language and their use of language. They can have hot and cold behavior. They can have passive dominance and guilt masquerading as love, like guilt tripping you. And the other thing is energetic feeding here. And so they can hook into your life force, right? And you feel drained after the connection. You feel drained after your connection, a deep connection with these spellcasters. And he may be running around with tons of energy and doing his own thing, right? He's in his own world doing his thing, and you're drained and exhausted. Well, he's harnessing your energy. That's why he's able to do all of these things, right? And your creativity and your libido, your sex drive, and your intuition get weaker and weaker and weaker. So basically, the spellcaster is an energy vampire, but he's got a spiritual mask on. So he can cast a spell by mimicking love, right? So all the things like watching, I'm going to buy her flowers, or I'm going to buy her something that she really, really likes. That's going to mimic love. It's not coming from a real place, right? It's a performance, basically. Like how a character would act in a movie, basically, right? To show love. He avoids depth, any kind of depth, and he's glamorizing control. This, the control is, oh, I'm doing this because I love you, but he's controlling you. He's distorting spiritual truth, and he's hooking into your father wound, right? So that's the energy seduction. He knows what your wound is, so he can hook into your father wound really, really easily. And it's really interesting too with the father wound. One of the main things, if you research predators, like predators, that predators to gather women for human trafficking and things like that, or child trafficking, one of the first questions they ask is your family and where's your father, right? Was your father around? And as soon as they hear there's no father, they know that they're in, because that's the wound. That's a huge wound for women. It's the father wound. And I said in the Pluto and Scorpio generation, the indigo women, they've got that Saturn Neptune conjunction in Capricorn, right? They lived through that, and that's like the missing father. It's part of their work to do on this planet, is to really bring their own inner father forward, right? Their own inner masculine, their own inner authority forward, not to be outsourcing it. But the spellcasters are out there, the predators, and they'll prey on these women with father wounds. So, and then they'll hook into your guilt pattern if you feel guilty, if you feel like you've got to earn the masculine's love, right, from your unhealed childhood, they can tap right into it. So they can be mentally evasive, emotionally avoidant, and they deflect responsibility while mirroring just enough insight to appear that they're wise, they're deep or spiritual. But again, it's all a performance, right? And it's all about this use of language. But it never truly lands as emotional truth, right? So this could be like an evasive mind here, right? So avoiding accountability, changing topics, right? Spinning narratives, overstimulated intelligence. And this is using the word salads, right? Saying a lot of words, not really saying too much, using spiritual language and intellectually dominating you. But right here, and emotionally slippery, never really lands in empathy. You don't feel it, right? He pretends he understands you, but he doesn't understand you. He can't really see you, right? Because he's in the shadow of superficiality. He's not in the depth of the depths of who you are. So he pretends that he understands you, but he doesn't. He avoids feeling, right? So he won't sit with his grief and his pain, his guilt, or his shame. He'll want you to feel all that for him. He'll use deflection as a defense. So he'll make others feel that they're the problem, right? So he's really, really good at deflection. Again, it's using this intellect in the words. And then he enacts fantasy, right? So he's really good at creating fantasy for you. This is the love bombing, romanticizes union, right? Avoids the depth, avoids any kind of depth here. So that's the spellcaster. We can talk a lot more about that, but let's talk about you and the symptoms that you're under a spell. Right? So you feel confused, right? You're under a spell. You feel there's a lot of confusion with the spellcasters. I feel confused, but I'm still loyal to him. So this is what it feels like when you're glamorized. Glamouring is a big word. Glamouring you can't really see. Smoke and mirrors, right? This is spiritual bypass or karmic entanglement, and it's definitely the shadow of superficiality. So you feel confused, but you're loyal. So you can't explain why, right? I can't explain why, but I don't know. I just feel like I owe them something. I owe them my time, my attention, my care, even though my body says no, right? They arrive in my field and they have my full attention. It's like, right? They create chaos and emotional fog that you can feel. You can feel like you're crazy sometimes, or that you're off balance around him. You start to look at yourself through his eyes. That's another thing that an energetic vampire does. You start to see yourself through their eyes, right? How he's seeing you. Right? And then there could be subtle gaslighting. You're too sensitive. You misunderstood me. I didn't really mean to say that. This is what I said, right? Not what you said. You heard it wrong, right? That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. And then the word salad and the conceptual loops, like using language to confuse, deflect, or appear deep, right, without any grounding truth, and switches topics mid conversation, to avoid vulnerability, and poses as spiritual and evolved, but never revealing his true self. He hides behind a mask, right? He looks like he has it all together. He's got all the language, the spiritual language, but he's not embodied. And you can't meditate. It's really difficult for you to meditate or connect clearly, right? So your intuition is cut off. You feel like it's muffled, right? Your intuition. You try to drop in, but your field feels noisy, murky, or numb. That's the confusion, right? Of the spellcaster. You start doubting your channel, start doubting your intuition. And then he's harvesting your life force energy, right? Because you're up in your head. So he's harvesting your energy, your life force energy. He wants sex, right? He wants touch. He wants attention and praise. He wants praise, but he doesn't want intimacy. And he feeds off your devotion, right? While offering no stability or vision. And then you start doubting your truth, right? What once was a clear knowing for you, now it's foggy. You second guess yourself. You second guess your inner voice. You wonder if you made it all up. And then this is the worst thing you can do, is you override your body signals in favor of staying emotionally loyal to this spellcaster. And your body is what's telling you the truth, right? Giving you the truth. So your gut will clench, right? Your chest will tighten. You'll have pain in your body. You'll feel anxious, but you stay. And you tell yourself, no, this is healing. This is spiritual growth, right? And again, the spellcaster keeps you in your head because he can control you when you're in your head, right? He can dominate you and keep you in a spell when you're in your head, not your body. He wants you in your head. And so this disrupts your nervous system, so you can't feel your body's truth, right? So he's encouraging disembodied spiritual bypassing, or telling you, gaslighting your intuition, getting you to question your intuition. So your power can feel muted, your voice weak, your voice can sound weak, feel weak. You find your needs shameful. And you lower your frequency in order to maintain peace. You don't show your power. You avoid conflict. You whisper instead of roar. So your thoughts are all obsessively looped around him. That's when you know that you're in a spell, right? You can't stop thinking about them. You replay conversations. I should have said that. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I said that wrong. And maybe that was too much that time. And it's all about you, doubting yourself. And then you start losing your light. You start losing your light here, and you call it healing, right? You're sleeping more, right? You don't feel like yourself, but you justify it. Well, this is just integration, or there's all this spellcaster is always something fantasy. He uses fantasy. If it'll be better when this happens, when I don't have to work overtime, or don't have this project to do, or it's your family. If your family weren't so intense, that it will get better, but it's always a carrot somewhere in the future, right? So you're dimming yourself. But your ego may not know this, but your soul knows it. And then the other thing that the spellcaster does is he blocks your soul purpose. He distracts you with drama, guilt, or caretaking, and can make you feel like you owe him something. Is right, your loyalty, your time, your healing energy, and this causes you to doubt your mission. Like, oh, that was just a fantasy, right? It wasn't a reality. And doubt your gifts, and doubt your timeline. So what he's doing here is he's overstimulating your nervous system. right? And he floods your psychic field. So this collapses your inner compass, right? So this keeps you off balance, right? It's got you second guessing, you're over explaining yourself, right? He'll say things like, you're projecting, you're just projecting on me, you're in your head. Let me help you feel safe. I'll help you feel safe with a big string attached. You're overreacting, right? And then they insert subtle shame for you wanting to be self sovereign. And eventually you get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, and you forget how to trust yourself, right? You disassociate. And this is what you call love, right? So he can push you intensely and then you shut down. Your whole system will shut down. And that means that you check out. You check out, right? And this is how the energetic hook happens, right? The energetic hook here is living in the mind. Okay, so don't go into despair. And maybe you're like, no, that's not me. That's not me, right? I'm in a good relationship. I'm in a healthy relationship and stuff. And I'm not saying that I doubt you. Maybe that's true for you. But I'm also going to show you to experiment and test this relationship that you're in. And there's a few things that you can do, and he'll show you his true self. He'll show you who he really is. And that's the great thing about coming to 2027 is that people can't hide anymore, right? They can't hide anymore. It's going to become more and more obvious, right? Who is for you and who's not for you. Okay. So why is the Phoenix fractal, this fractal, vulnerable to spellcasters, right? So this is you haven't fully incarnated yet, right? So most of you are energetically gifted, right? You're a powerhouse. You're energetically gifted, but you're not grounded in your body. So you live in the upper chakras, right? With an empathetic, you're intuitive, you're connected, but you can't yet anchor that power into the physical, right? So go watch that Cathar's video if you haven't watched that, and that will give you more information why you haven't fully incarnated yet, right? And this means that your boundaries are weak, your bodies are disconnected, and you mistake psychic stimulation for love. So spellcasters love disembodied women because without a root, they're easy to glamour because you're not in your power, you're not in your body, right? You're not in your body. And then the high priestess, the past life Cathar wound, hidden high priestess in hiding. That's what the video is called. If you haven't watched it yet, please watch that. And this is the memory of being burned, betrayed, or silenced for their spiritual power. And these spellcasters come from your past lives as a Cathar, right? So in the Cathar timeline, many of you high priestess, right, who chose death or silence over submission. So in this life, they stay hidden, right, behind good girl masks, over giving or spiritual bypassing. So spellcasters mirror safety at first. Oh, he seems so safe, right? He's got this really good job. He's materially solid and blah, blah, blah. But then they slowly replace your intuition with control. They become your outer authority, right? They become your intuition, right? So, because the priestess is still afraid to rise, right? Your high priestess is still afraid to rise, and that's the spellcasters can swoop in here. The father wound, that's a huge one. So this is the core, right? So you were emotionally abandoned, right, by your father. You were spiritually neglected or subtly controlled by your father, maybe. So this is like 1 + 1 = 2. My father neglected me, didn't notice me, didn't have time for me. I attract this spellcaster who doesn't have time for me, neglects me, doesn't notice me, right? Is this, it's coming from this. Do you see? It's not a soul mate, it's a wound mate. It's a wound mate, a karmic mate. Okay, so you may have learned to please, perform, or shrink to earn love, right? Or take up interest that your father had, just so that you'll be interesting to your father. And you do the same thing with your spellcaster. Well, he's really interested in this, so I'm gonna do I am too, and pretend that I am. So I have his attention, but it's coming. The root of it's coming from this father wound. And then you felt unsafe being seen, right? Setting boundaries or saying no to your father. And that's exactly how the spellcaster gains access. They feel familiar. The spellcaster feels familiar, like your father. They echo the emotional pattern of the father. And they spiritualize it. You spiritualize it, but it's coming from a wound, right? So, how they operate in the field, right, in the Phoenix fractal field, the spellcasters, they overstimulate your nervous system, right? So, they're flooding your psychic field. I want to repeat this. And they're collapsing your inner compass, and they keep you off balance. That's how they keep you in the spell. You're always off balance. You're always second guessing yourself. You're always over explaining yourself, right? And they'll say things, they'll gaslight, like if you do speak the truth, well, you're trying to control me, right? They'll project what they're doing to you, they'll project on you. You're trying to control me, you're trying to silence me, right? So, and it's leaving the body, right? So let's go into the next part here of how to break the spell. This is the ninja moves that you can do with this spellcaster. Is to get back into your body, get back into your presence. This is definitely number one, is to get into your body. And I'll just share a personal story here. Way back in 2000, was it 2000, 2001? I think it was 2001. I belonged to this energy healing group, right? This community. It was a community. And from 2001 to 2004, I was there. So I had 2004 is when I went into Kundalini Yoga teacher training. So kind of the energy healing group and then Kundalini Yoga they kind of came at the same time. And Kundalini Yoga, I was just practicing on my own, doing it mostly and going to classes sometimes. But anyway, this energy healing group, the teacher was like, she had so much power and gifts. She's a powerhouse, this woman. And and then at the same time I was going to classes, and they were the complete opposite. The energy healing group, they wore all black, and all the classes were at nighttime. They were night owls. And then Kundalini Yoga, they wore all white, and it was more daytime, like first thing in the morning, right? So I was practicing early morning sadhana, and that's from 4 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. And that's yoga and meditation and prayer, right? So I'm doing that in the mornings. And my nervous system is, because I'm tapped into the group consciousness, so my nervous system's healing because I'm tapped into the group nervous system there, doing that, and then doing my inner shadow work and my inner child work and clearing my emotional body and just feeling more and more grounded, right? More and more safe, like releasing a lot of fear from my body, right? So I had one leg in that world and then one leg in this, the energy healing group. So she was a powerhouse, but she also had this really like ugly shadow that would come out. And so when it came out, people would just like leave their bodies, right? And it would be very subtle, but it would be an energy shift. So anyway, I was at this class. So I've been doing group sadhana for quite a bit. So I was very grounded, very present. I was really, really present. And she had something, I forget what she yelled about something. And I just felt the room just go, poof. and everybody just leaving their bodies. But I stayed, right? I was so grounded and I was in my heart. And she's looking around and she saw, right? She looked me right in the eye. And what I was communicating to her is like, I'm here and I can see what you're doing, right? I can see, because I was looking at her shadow, I can see what you're doing, right? And it was like I caught her basically. So that's the secret for you, is to stay in your body, because you want to see it. You want to see the dynamic with this spell, right? The spellcaster here. So this is all I say to you, is like, begin to speak the truth, speak your truth, speak the things that you've pushed down over and over things that you're not happy about in your relationship, and you want a different, you just want to express it. Remember Uranus in the 20, in the present now moment. So you're with him and you're speaking the truth, and you stay in the body, and they're right there. It's like you live here in your navel and your solar plexus. You bring all your awareness down here, right? And what he'll try to do is to bring you up here into logic and argument, but you stay in the body and then you watch, right? And then you'll start to see the dynamic and the pull, because that's where he's pulling your energy right there from the sacral. So I want you to see it like I saw it. I saw that dynamic, right? And then you name it, right? And then you name it. So because spells can't survive embodiment, when you're in your power as a divine feminine and you stay in your body and you watch with those piercing eyes, right, of all the tricks, and you'll start to see the spell casting and how it works, right? So and the name it is like, this isn't love. This is not love. This is a soul bind. It's a karmic bond. It's a trauma bond. I'm seeing it now. And then even naming it. So stay in the body and then you name it, right? And that collapses, right? Collapses the illusion here. So in terms of your body, by staying present in the body, is like breathing long and deep, commit. I'm not leaving here. I'm staying here and I'm watching. And you can still speak, right? But it's going to come from here, right? Your voice will come from deep here in your navel, and then it's moving up instead of your head down to here. You're weak here, right? And that's where he's got you. But when you're down here, he can't get you, right? He can't get you. He can't trick you. He can't manipulate you. And this starts to break the spell, right? So then you want to cut the cord. You can cut the cord spiritually and practically. So, if you're not in a you're in a relationship, but you're not living together, it's like, remove their name from your journal. Don't be thinking about them. Delete their messages. Stop checking their feed, right? And light a candle and say, I return your energy to you. I call mine home, right? So you don't have to hate them, right? It's like, I got the lesson. Thank you for this lesson that you've given me to stand up for myself and to speak my truth, right? So you just have to leave their energy field, right? And the other thing is, you want to claim your space, right? Claim your space. So even have a space in your house, right? That's just for you. And you can burn Palo Santo or sage, or use incense or something. Play high vibration music or mantra. Remember I talked about the Kundalini yoga music? It's the sound current called the Shabakaru. And so I have some on a playlist here on my channel that you can use, and that completely penetrates all negativity in your environment. I have mine playing 24/7 in my own home, right? And then you want to speak out loud that this space belongs to me. This is my space. This is my energetic space. And it belongs to truth. No false light may enter, right? No spellcaster. He can't bring in this negative energy here, right? And then the other one is to sleep alone, right? To sleep alone. And Ra talked about this. We're the most conditioned when we sleep horizontal, side by side, right? So this means you're being pulled out of your power, you're pulled out of your authenticity. There's more confusion, right? More confusion, more chaos because you're in his field, right? So this is like just to do this. I'm going to sleep alone and then see how he reacts, right? And watch. I'm going to start sleeping alone. I'm exhausted. I'm having all these health problems. I need to be in my own aura. And you stay here when you speak and then you watch him and how he reacts because you're taking his energy source from him, right? He's not tapped into the divine. He's tapped into you for his energy source, and it's draining you, right? So you sleep alone, you start meditating, you start caring for yourself, you start being in your body, and then your energy will start coming back. Your intuition will start coming back stronger and stronger and stronger, and this is how you come back, right? From the spell, you break the spell. And so here's a good cord cutting that you can do, and you can speak this out loud. Remember Uranus in the 20, you're going to speak this out into the field from your power, from your navel, and and you can take a screenshot, pause this and take a screenshot. I revoke all energetic contracts not aligned with truth. I release all glamouring, soul binds, and distortions. I reclaim my body. I reclaim my voice. I reclaim my power. So it is. So you want to say this 3 times, right? And you want to mean it. It has to come from your navel. And this will start shifting the cords between you two, right? Dissolving them. Okay. And then you want to remember your soul purpose. You're here for a soul purpose. This spellcaster is keeping you from your soul purpose, right? And you want to use your body wisdom. You want to start to honor and value your body wisdom over mental manipulation. He can try to mentally manipulate you with logic, but you're trusting your body. And it's like, no, my body is saying this. No, my body feels contracted right now. It's not a good space. No, I can't have sex with you. My body is closed, right? No, I can't do that, right? It's start to obey and listen to your body. And this is like, no more harvesting my energy, no more confusing me, no more doubt, right? As soon as you're doubting yourself, you're second guessing yourself, you're belittling yourself, you're in the spellcasters, you're under the spell, and you're seeing yourself through his eyes, right? And no more outsourcing your intuition to slippery promises or charismatic lies, right? And the lies are, they never follow through. It's all talk, no action, right? Okay. So let's look at the difference between the divine the divine masculine and the spellcasters. Just so you can start to set your bar high, divine feminine, right? And not be falling for this anymore, right? Anymore. So the trick, if you leave with any message, is to be in your body and to trust your body and what it's communicating to you. You're not in your power when you're in your mind. That's not where your power is. It's in your body. Your body will speak the truth to you. So let's do a versus, right? A spellcaster. This is the false masculine versus the divine masculine. This is true presence. This is superficiality, the spellcaster. And this is where your bar wants to be, right here. This is what you want, is the divine masculine in your field. So the spellcaster, he performs love to gain access to you. And this is like, he's like a character in a movie. That's how we learned about love. Well, this is how you behave, and this is what you say when you're in love. He's not embodying love. The divine masculine embodies love without expectation. Without expectation. He just is love, right? He's emanating it. Spellcaster uses word salads to evade the truth, right? To evade the truth. The divine masculine speaks clearly, even when it's hard and difficult. He speaks clearly. The spellcaster mirrors what you want to hear. He knows what you want to hear. The divine masculine reflects what your soul needs to hear, which can sometimes be offensive to the ego, right? But the divine masculine knows what your soul needs to hear. And you'll know it, right? When you're embodied, when you're in your body. The spellcaster creates emotional chaos. The divine masculine creates nervous system safety. Your nervous system relaxes around the divine feminine. The spellcaster love bombs. This is like sometimes he's up, right? Sometimes he's up, sometimes he's in. He's flattering me. He's giving me gifts. He's doing this. Does that, and then he withdraws. He's in and out, right? Divine masculine shows up steadily with integrity, meaning that his words match his actions. His words match his frequency. Love bombing is I love you. He can say the words I love you, but you don't feel them. It's not integrity. His words are not aligned with his energy, right? You'll know that when you're in your body. You'll know all of this when you're in your body. I won't need to tell you this. Spellcaster feeds off your energy. The divine masculine honors your energy as sacred. He sees your energy as sacred and treats it as such. The spellcaster hides behind spiritual language. And then the divine masculine lives spiritual truth in action. He embodies what he says, right? He just hides behind it. And you see that his actions often belie what he says, right? He's not living what he's saying. He just has all the great language. The spellcaster keeps you in your head, and then the divine masculine brings you back into your body. The spellcaster avoids emotional accountability, right? So this is like, no, I'm not angry. No, I'm not angry, right? And then projects onto you, right? You're crazy. Why do you think that? I'm not angry. The gaslighting. This makes you doubt your body and what you're feeling. Well, the divine masculine owns his shadow with humility. Yeah, I'm feeling angry today. I don't know why. I need to explore this. This is right. He's open about it. The spellcaster fears your power. Fears your power. You stepping into your power. The divine masculine celebrates your power. The spellcaster controls you through charm, right? Through charm and cleverness. And the divine masculine leads through integrity. Again, his words matching his actions and his energy matching his words. And then spellcaster wants your devotion and blind loyalty to him. It's all about him. I want you devoted to me. And divine masculine is devoted to your liberation, your freedom. Spellcaster wants you confused, right? And in chaos, out of your power so that you stay, right? The divine masculine wants you clear so that you're free, The spellcaster says you're way too much, you're way too emotional, you're way too inconsistent, you're way, like the projection. Everything he's projecting on you, right? Everything he says about you, he's doing himself. He's just projecting on you. Well, the divine masculine, right? Spellcaster says you're too much. And the divine masculine says you're everything and more. You're not too much. You're everything and more. Right? So the divine masculine wants you to be your authentic self, and the spellcaster wants you to be in a role for him. Right? He can't see you. Right? He can't see you. The divine masculine can see you. He can see your soul. He can see your soul. That's what he wants to help you liberate, is to liberate your soul. Okay, so this is what you want this. I will not settle for anything less than a divine masculine. And then start to claim it. Start to claim it. And don't let doubt and fear come in, right? And this means doing your inner work, your inner child work too, so that you're ready for this, right? This is why women, you hear this story about, this is why men can't rescue women You always hear that saying, nice guys finish last. And you see this, some people, some men, they'll run in, they take on the mantle of the white knight archetype, and then they want to save these women from these horrible men, right? And what happens is they either go back to that horrible man, or they attract they attract another man that they're interested in that's got the same names, different body, but the same frequency, same dynamic, right? Because that woman, the wounded feminine, she has to heal herself. She has to stand up to the spellcaster, right? Because right now he's her mirror. If you're with a spellcaster, he's your mirror. So part of you believes that you deserve all of this, and it comes from your father wound, right? It comes from your father wound. And until then, right, until you step up and heal that, then you attract in the divine masculine. And then you're not going to fear. Right now, you're going to fear this because it's like, what is this? Your inner child is, I don't know. I don't trust this because it's not familiar. But this spellcaster is, I'll go with him, right? You see? And so remember that the divine feminine online retreat, the Father Wound online retreat, is starting in 2 days. Opening circle. The retreat opens on July 17th, but the opening circle starts on the 18th to the 20th. And remember, it's the all weekend, and then there's a group meditation Wednesday, and then the following Thursday too. So if you're called, if your soul is calling you to this, then certainly, yeah, go to the website and join in. There's quite a few women now that are set up. And if you're on my fractal and maybe the money's not there, it's like, oh, the money's not there for my online retreat, then that means it's not meant to be this time around. But these women that are on your fractal are going to go through this deep experience, this deep healing experience, right? And then they send that energy all down the fractal line. So you'll benefit from this, right? From this online retreat, even if you're not, physically there. So keep that in mind. It's going to be fun and interesting. I can already feel the energy here. So let's do a reading here. And this is for Uranus in the 20th gate here. And this is for the Phoenix fractal. In card 1, which was really 2 cards popped out. Remember, I shuffle and they just jump out. So what spell are you ready to break? What spell are you ready to break? And you've got the 8 of Cups reversed and the 5 of Swords. So this is the spell of emotional entanglement and mental self-betrayal. So you've been holding on to something that you know is over, right? It's like the milk in the fridge and expired like last month, but you're still holding on to it, right? You know it's over, but you can't walk away, right? Eight of Cups reversed. So 8 of Cups reversed says you've outgrown this emotionally, but you're still bound by the illusion, by the spell. So the 5 of Swords reveals the core. This is mind games, power dynamics, and psychic fragmentation. This is the Spellcaster field right here, this 5 of Swords. So you're under the spell. You're under the spell. So this is the spell being broken for you, is the belief that leaving is a failure. Oh, I failed this relationship if I leave. You're breaking that spell, right? Because this is your ancestors, Uranus in 20, Pluto in the 41. You're breaking these ancestral belief patterns, right? The addiction to confusion and emotional chaos. Well, that means that I love him because I'm so emotionally, right? I'm addicted to the emotional chaos and the confusion. And real love is calm, right? That's what real love is: calm and grounded and consistent. This up and down stuff, this is just your nervous system. You got to look at, like, is my heart racing? right? Is my heart no, that doesn't mean that it's love. It means your nervous system is hyperactive. It's in defense. Your body's in defense. Your body knows the truth of this relationship, but your mind and ego want to cling, right? And that's the spell. So this is the habit of silencing your body in order to keep the peace. Your body's screaming at the top of its lungs, but you are silencing the body, right, with these two cards here in order to keep the peace here. So that's the spell that's breaking. And then card 2. Where have you mistaken your nervous system dysregulation for love? Judgment. So this is the truth trumpet, right? She's got the truth trumpet here, the angel. And this card isn't whispering. This card is declaring loudly for you. So this is like you're awakening. You're awakening to the voice of your body. That's what this is saying. This is good news. And you're seeing clearly what you've called chaos, right? Previously, this chaos, I'm calling it chemistry. We have chemistry together. Well, judgment says it was never love. It was familiar pain from your past. So this is karmic awakening, and the spell is lifting. And now the body speaks louder than the fantasy. Your body is speaking louder than the fantasy now. This is good. And then card 3, what does your soul want you to express that you've been silencing? 4 of Swords reversed. This is I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted. I've been pretending that I'm still. I'm pretending that I'm peaceful, but I'm screaming inside. It's all a fake. I'm just being fake. I'm screaming inside. This is the soul's cry. Your soul is like, I need rest. I need truth. I need expression. I need to sleep alone, right? The silence has become a cage right here. So this says that you're not resting, right? This is the soul rest. Your soul will rest when you're in your own space. You'll feel it. Your body will feel, oh, I'm out of that field for tonight. I can really rest and rejuvenate. Just try it. I'm not saying to make it a permanent thing. If you're still like, I don't know, I don't think so. Just try it. Just try it and see what happens. Right? Just one night. I guarantee you'll wake up like rested and relaxed. Right? And feeling like yourself again, like the start of that. So your body's aching for release from this field. Your voices want to speak what's been unspoken. So this is gate 20 in reversal. This is your presence is denied. You're avoiding being present with yourself and what's going on. So this is time to speak the exhaustion, not to hide it, to speak it out, right? Write it out. I'm exhausted. I'm so weary, whatever it is, speak it out. And then what part of you wants to be saved instead of reclaimed? What part of you wants a white knight to come in and save you instead of reclaiming your own soul? And this is the romantic contract. So you're still hoping that this spellcaster, this karmic's going to wake up. I'm still hoping that he's going to wake up, that he'll apologize, right? That he'll return, right? That he'll choose you. He'll choose you. This will come back so that you don't have to walk away. I don't have to walk away. He's going to change, right? That's this. This is your waiting to be saved. So this is the Two of Cups. Like, let's elevate it up here. And this is about your power to be in unity with yourself, not outsourcing your masculine to this weak karmic, right? This weak masculine, this spellcaster. So stop waiting for the mirror to love you back, because he's just a mirror, right? The spellcaster is a mirror, and he's showing you where your wounding is, where your work is, right? The mirror doesn't love you back, right? That's not his job as the karmic, right? So the divine union begins with you. That's when you claim yourself back, right? And then it will reflect, right? So you come in union with yourself. You heal the father wound yourself, right? You heal this masculine wound, and then you come in union with yourself, and then of course you reflect that. You draw into the divine masculine, who's your mirror when you're in union. But when you're wounded and you're not present, you're not in your body, of course you're going to attract this, like the karmic and the spellcaster. Um, and then what's the dream, Pluto in the 41, that your soul is seeding now beyond your lineage, beyond your family lineage? Well, this is saying that your dream begins with grief. It means that you've got to grieve the past first. So this is a soul's reckoning with the fact that the fantasy must die. You must let go of the spell that's been cast on you and start to see this karmic in truth, right? This is the fantasy must die that you've been holding. That union will not be what you imagined it to be, right? Right? That somebody may never become what you hoped. He'll never become what you hoped, right? And so with the Two of Cups, because it just comes after that, it's like when you come into union, yes, this is waiting for you. This is waiting for you. I worked with a woman, I did a twin flame reading with her, and she went through, I think I mentioned this in the post, the YouTube post. She was traveling abroad with this man. She knew he was a karmic, but she wasn't listening to her intuition. Anyway, she ended up in the hospital abroad, right? Not even in USA, twice. And then the second time she finally got it, like her life force energy was completely drained from her. She was right sick and all this stuff going on. And then she got it. She said to the divine, okay, I'm going to leave. So she left the karmic and started bouncing back. Her health started coming back. And then she said, I don't know what the time frame was, but pretty much quickly after that, she met her divine counterpart. And that's who she's with now for a couple months now. And her challenge is like, I'm not used to being with a divine masculine. I'm not used to this, right? I have to adjust to it. I'm used to this old, karmic patterns. So that's what this is saying. The Two of Cups is still there if you're willing to do the work. If you're do the work, bring all your energy back to you, right? And then when you're in that power of union, everything starts to come for you, right? All the material resources that you need. You don't need to go into survival. Uranus in 20, Pluto in 41. It's like that's what your ancestors did. You don't need to do that. But you're not going to be prosperous if you're leaking your energy all over the place and you're not in your power, right? Come into your power and watch what happens to your life. Okay. So let the false hope die, and then this dream can emerge, right? The real Two of Cups can come to you, right? But you need to let this go. The universe isn't going to bring this in until you let this fantasy go first. And then the clarifying card here is Justice. And this is the whole spread here. This is all about karmic rebalancing. So Justice is the fractal field, our fractal field, Phoenix fractal. It's realigning. Your karmic mirror is being dissolved, and now you're reclaiming discernment. I'll be discerning now. I know what to look for now, right? I know where my bar is set. I know that I need to stay in my body and not get caught up in fantasies, right? I need to do my inner work. I need to do my healing work. So you're reclaiming your power of discernment, because when you're under a spell, you're not discerning at all. So this is you remembering your sovereignty. It's spell breaking, and the truth is cutting through the glamour. So this is Pluto and Uranus saying, be here now. Speak your truth, right? Grieve, burn the illusion, and then you're free if you choose truth, right? That's beautiful. Okay, so let's go to the twin flames. So we're not going to do false twin because the reading before was like that was really about your false twin. The karmic. So the twin flame reading, you may recognize yourself. Like just put yourself in what I'm talking about, because maybe you're no, that's me. He's describing me, or no, he's describing my twin, right? So you just do the switcheroo. Okay, so what does your soul already know about this twin flame connection? And you got the Judgment card and then the Ace of Cups reversed. So both twins know that this is a soul call. They know that this is divinely orchestrated connection, relationship, right? It's undeniable. It's sacred. So Judgment says that it's destined. It was destined. You were destined to meet, basically. And you're destined to do your soul purpose together too. That's how twins work. But the Ace of Cups reversed says that there's an ache, right? This is repressing the love. Yeah, you know. Yeah, I know it's sacred. I know it's undeniable. It's a soul call. But there's an ache because the love, twin flame connection comes with a lot of love, right? So this is saying that the love is repressed. It's been repressed. It's been stuffed down. It's been misdirected. It's been withheld. So your soul knows the truth, right? This love is real, but it can't flow until the truth is spoken. You need to speak the truth. So this is either you or the twin. So the emotional cup remains turned inward, not from lack of love. This says that there's lots and lots of love there, but it remains inward because there's a fear of its power. It's a fear of the power of this love, this amount of love. So this is both twins recognizing the spiritual nature of your bond, but still holding back the flood, like repressing that flood of energy. Okay. And so what must you release to embody sacred union in this lifetime? And the Six of Swords, that says you must release the karmic waters, the grief, the residual grief, the false calm, the stories of what went wrong. And this card says that you can't bring old stories because the Six of Swords is moving away from the shore, right? So it's leaving the old stories of the twin behind. So let go of the need to understand the past, like what happened in the past, going through the past, trying to get back to something, right, in this connection. And it's not about a return. It's not about a return to the old. It's a crossing, because right now your twin is a ghost. The twin that you know from the past is a ghost. They don't exist like that anymore. Both twins have to look at that they can't look at the past like, oh, my twin's always going to be like that, right? They're always like that. This happened, that. You don't know. So it's about letting go of the ghost of who you think they are, and then moving forward, like turning your head and you're moving forward here. So that has to go. The past completely has to go with the twin. Okay. So the message is you want to release what you were, release your connection, what you thought we were this, we were that. You want to release all of that. And now you're going to meet who we truly are, which is going to be quite different than the past, your connection, right? So to trust that. And how is this connection meant to evolve you right now? And it's the moon. So this card is mystery, more unknown, right? More mystery. It's illusion, fear, soul descent. So this connection is forcing you into your own shadow, into the parts of you that still doubt, question, long, and fear being forgotten. Well, my twins doesn't think of me anymore, and I'm right. I've been forgotten, right? It's just like ships that pass through the night, right? It's like going back to the shadow. And remember that twins have to deal with a lot of self-worth issues, right? So self-worth issues. And so that's what that shadow would be, self-worth and self-value. So the moon also represents, and it's deep, right? It's the subconscious. So your shadows have to come up in the twin flame connection too, to be integrated. So the moon also represents intuition, sacred timing. And this is the dark night of the soul that purifies illusion and prepares you for truth. So you're not meant to see clearly, right? You're meant to trust. And that's what comes why the twin flame connection is so challenging, because you have to trust. All you have to go on is your heart. What does my heart tell me? What does my intuition tell me? There's no proof and receipts, right? With the moon, it's you're learning faith, right? The twin flame connection is teaching you faith, not just about the connection, but just about life and the divine, right? The life and the divine. So, what part are you mirroring one another, like the awakening? There's that Four of Swords reversed again. This is you're mirroring one another. You're both exhausted, right? Uh, you have soul fatigue. Your heart is silent. And this is like a retreat from the world. It's a hidden ache. And now it's felt through you. So your twin's feeling this too, this exhaustion, and so are you. And so are you. So it's not codependency. This is not a codependent card. It's mirroring. You're mirroring one another. You're embodying your twins' unspoken prayers, and you're feeling the ache. Your twins ache for rest, for safety, for healing. And the healing is activating you, right? And vice versa. So you're becoming the sanctuary, right? That your twin can't find themselves in yet. So if you rest, like really embrace this rest and stillness, because you both share the same field, that they'll feel that, right? So that they can rest too. So there's a sanctuary there. So you want to hold the stillness that your twin fears, right? Your twins will feel that if you're just solidly in yourself and stable, right? They're going to feel that, and then that helps them to rest, right? So you become the space that your twin can't enter yet. So you're just holding the space by just being still yourself, being still and resting yourself. This will help your twin heal. So what's the highest expression of this union is Page of Wands reversed and the Ace of Wands. So this is saying the Page of Wands reversed said the spark was denied, right? You had a spark, this twin flame connection that you were in. Yes, the spark was there, but it was denied. It was silenced. The voice was silenced. It wasn't expressed, right? You didn't express the spark that was there. So this is the inner flame, the innocent desire, Page of Wands, suppressed by fear, right? Suppressing it by fear. What does this mean that I feel this spark, right? By karmic conditioning, maybe of the spellcaster field. Like, no, I can't go there. I can't even acknowledge this to myself. But there's the Ace of Wands there, upright. And the fire, it says the fire's still there. And this is the thing with the karmic and the twin flame. The karmic, the fire dies. It has a beginning and an end. It burns out. But the twin flame fire never burns out. Never burns out. It's always there. It's an eternal flame. So this union exists right now to reignite the divine spark in both of you. Not just passion, because the Ace of Wands can be a very passionate card, but it's about divine creation. Together, you're meant to awaken something, right? Together, twin flames, you're meant to awaken something that sets the world on fire, a mission, a purpose, a teaching, or a field of living presence, right? So the message is even if you lose your way as twin flames, right? The flame remains. The flame remains. And then the clarifying cards are Four of Pentacles and the Magician. And the Four of Pentacles is fear, right? Don't let go. I can't let go. I can't let go of this karmic if you're in that situation, or this spellcaster, because I'll lose everything. I'll lose everything. And then the magician says, no, you have everything that you need already, right? So this is the tension, right? The tension. One of you, right? One of you, one of the twins is holding back out of fear, right? It's all about fear. What will happen if I go? And it's pentacles, so it's material. What will happen? I will lose these material things, right? So holding back out of fear. And then the magician is like, no, we can create. We can co-create. We can co-create with our frequency, and have everything that we need, right? So there's a little push me, pull me here. But union will only arrive when both release their fear-based control and reclaim their inner power. So this is saying that the masculine's ready to create, and the feminine is still holding on, not out of selfishness, but out of survival. And so this is about a test of the feminine's faith. So this is the alchemy of becoming and letting go of who you were in the past, and then create what you truly are now in the present. Okay. So there we go. So just a reminder that that online retreat's happening this weekend. It's going to be deep healing the father wound. So it's great go check it out. I've got lots of words and stuff that I put on the description. And 1 hour, 41 minutes. This was a bit longer one, eh? I thought it would have been shorter. Okay, so check that out. You can follow me on Instagram, Telegram, and YouTube community posts that I do every day, pretty much daily. Try to anyway. And I have a free newsletter too. So that's on my website too, that you can sign up for the newsletter. I only send out once a week. If there's a special thing, sometimes twice a week. So that, and please like my video. That would be awesome. And share if you feel called. And comment. I love reading the comments, and others do too. Because I like the feedback from the field. Okay, so take good care of yourself, and Sat Nam Aloha. Bye-bye.